As he prepares to seek revenge against the High Table in New York City, John Wick hides underground with the Bowery King. He goes to Morocco and murders the Elder, also known as the person who sits above the table. In response, High Table member Marquis Vincent de Graymont calls Winston, the general manager of the New York Continental, and Sharon, his concierge. The Marquis says that John Wick can be killed with no constraint on resources because to the High Table. Winston receives criticism from the Marquis for failing to kill John. As a result, he loses his administrative responsibilities, is labeled excommunicado, the Continental is destroyed, and Sharon is put to death. The Marquis then hires blind, ex-High Table assassin Kane to kill his old friend John under threat of killing Kane's daughter. At his friend Shimazu Koji's hotel, the Osaka Continental, John seeks safety. Chitty, the Marquis' second-in-command, shows up to look into the hotel, supported by High Table killers and Kane. The hotel's concierge, Koji's daughter Akira, evacuates the building just before the High Table deconsecrates it, setting off a brawl when Koji and his men defend John. John defeats waves of armored assassins, setting up a confrontation with Kane. A bounty hunter named Mr. Nobody breaks up their struggle and helps John flee after deciding the reward for John's death was insufficient. On behalf of John, a wounded Koji assaults Kane repeatedly. Kane regretfully kills Koji while sparing Akira. John returns to New York and meets with a vengeful Winston at Karen's gravesite. Winston advises John to invoke an old High Table tradition to challenge the Marquis to a duel. Winning would free John of all obligations to the High Table, but he can only request a duel on behalf of a crime family. He travels to the Berlin headquarters of the Ruska Roma crime syndicate, with whom he had severed ties, to request readmission. His adoptive sister Katia stipulates that for readmission, John must kill Killa Harkan, a High Table member who murdered her father. John confronts Killa at his nightclub. Kane and Mr. Nobody assist John against Killa's henchmen when a fight breaks out. John ultimately kills Killa and regains his status. Winston informs the Marquis of John's formal challenge. As John's second, Winston asks that the New York Continental be rebuilt and that, should John win, he be appointed manager once more. In a meeting facilitated by the Harbinger, an agent of the table, John and the Marquis in Paris settle on the specifics of the duel, dueling pistols at sunrise the following day near Sacré-Cœur. The Marquis names a hesitant Kane to take his place. Should either fail to show there on time, John and Winston will be put to death. John receives a gun and a brand new ballistic suit from the Bowery King when he arrives in Paris. With a $26 million bounty on John, the Marquis wants to keep him from getting to the combat in time. On his approach to Sacré-Cœur, John battles swarms of assassins, including Mr. Nobody, who arranges for the bounty to be raised to $40 million. When John intervenes to stop Chitty from murdering Mr. Nobody's dog, Mr. Nobody is so shocked that he gives up looking for John. They get to the summit just in time for the duel after helping John fend off multiple assassins, including Chitty, who Mr. Nobody ends up killing, on the Rue Foyetier. After 2 rounds of combat, John and Kane exhausted one another. When Kane seriously wounds John, the 3rd round is called off, requesting the right to lead the coup. Kane and John are released from the High Table by the Harbinger, and Winston is given his position back. John contemplates his life and marriage before fainting on the staircase and passing away from his wounds. Winston and the Bowery King said goodbye to John at his tomb, which was close to that of his late wife Helen, while they were back in New York. In a post-credits sequence, Akira, a spiteful character, approaches Kane as he returns to Paris to see his daughter brandishing a knife.